Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of The Grave. This will be the last episode of Season 1, and it's going to be a pretty different episode than what you're used to. For those of you who have been following this podcast, normally an episode is comprised of me talking to one guest. Recently we had two, but this episode I will be talking to three guests. And that's because I'm interviewing my family. In episode 1, I cataloged the most vivid and interesting encounters I've had in my own personal life with the paranormal. And throughout my discussions with all my guests, I've shared bits and pieces of other experiences I've had or have heard. And one reoccurring theme, I think, is the passing of my mother. My mother passed away of breast cancer several years ago, and I think her passing was kind of the catalyst, not only for this podcast, but for my family's kind of spiritual adventure as a whole. I think we've all dealt with her death differently, and I think we've all come to a certain conclusion in the years since her passing. So this episode is meant to bring episode 1 kind of full circle, in the sense that I'm literally bringing it home to my family. I will be interviewing both my brothers and my sister, and I will also be describing an experience my father had at our family home. I think it's a fairly rare thing when every immediate family member has had some sort of paranormal experience. And it wasn't knowledge that I was exactly privy to until recently. And I think we've all become fairly comfortable discussing it. And whether we're talking about my mother or just some other supernatural experience that we can't explain, it's not often that if you go around to every member of a family that they'll have some sort of paranormal story to tell you, at least in my experience. So while my mother will play an integral part in this episode, I think you'll find that even our childhood home, as well as the town we grew up in, certainly has some secrets left to be explored. I had initially designed this episode to either be an oldest to youngest or a youngest to oldest situation, but as I spoke with my family members, I soon realized that crafting this episode in that way wasn't going to be the proper way to tell it. I will first start off with the experience my father had, because I think that sets the stage for everything else that will be discussed hereafter. And this, as I said, this all kind of starts with my mother's passing, and she was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer after surviving her first battle with it. It came back with a vengeance. It wasn't until after everything had kind of died down where my father divulged this story. Before she passed, her and my dad would kind of sit up and talk and kind of prep each other both spiritually and mentally for the loss that was about to happen. And my mother had told my father that if she could, after she died, she would whisper in his ear to let him know that she was okay. Sometime after she passed, my father was sleeping in what used to be their bedroom. It still is his bedroom. And he said simultaneously he felt the sensation of someone pushing down on his shoulder as if to wake him up, and also the sound of my mother's voice saying his name. And after he kind of sat up and realized kind of what he had just experienced, he noticed that around the room there was this kind of, I guess he described it as like a shimmering haze. It was not really a fog, but more of a kind of a ethereal light that kind of pervaded the room. And he also noticed that our dog Taz, who's 14 now at this point, he was obviously a few years younger at the time, but he was at full attention at the foot of the bed, kind of just staring off into the bedroom. And my father, to be fair, all my life, as far as I know, has been kind of agnostic on the whole heaven, spirit, soul thing. Growing up, he was never the first one to willingly say, let's go to church. That was always my mother. But I think after this experience, he has kind of softened to the idea that it's not all black and white as far as life and death goes. So please keep what I just told you in mind, because while not all of the following stories are inclusive of something that happened in our family home or concerned my mother, I am going to try my best to weave a family ghost story throughout this episode. So without further ado, I give you my family. Well, I'm just putting Harper on because Jess is out and I'm can't leave her unattended.
Yeah, no. If you need to duck out at any time, that's what editing is for.
Yeah, we'll fix it in post. But do you have any questions for me before we start this shindig?
I don't think so.
That's fine. And I'm just for my, because when I go to talk to Kirsten, the Gowry's house is the one in North Cove, right?
Yep, North Cove.
Okay. And she had experience. Well, she knows. I'll ask her, because I feel like when I asked her, she was like, I don't really have any experiences at all. And I was like, I feel like you told me a bunch of scary shit that happened at the Gowry's house.
So yeah, it's more her firsthand or like a third party experience getting told it from Scott or Allie or the mom. But I know like all of them have had stuff happen there, and I'm sure she'll get more into it. But like one day, the mother and father are divorced now, but one day all of his left shoes were just gone, and he like went into all the kids' rooms and was like, hey, like funny prank, but like I need my shoes for work. And everyone was like, what are you talking about?
We don't have your shoes, Dad.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know, there's little stuff like that. I know Kirsten's got a few more that are definitely a little more terrifying. But interestingly enough, the thing that did happen to me and Eric also happened to Allie, who's the daughter and her boyfriend.
Oh shit! All right, well, so let's do that then. Why don't you get us started with your tale, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, perfect. So where to begin? It was a warm June evening. No. So it was actually opposite of June. I was back for winter break from college, and went to school in California. So I was back for winter break. I was somewhat of a heavy pot smoker at the time. Some would say. So, and it's kind of builds up to like the reason for even going there in the first place. I had a bong. I brought it out with me to California. So when I came back, I didn't have one. And the Gowrys were on vacation, and Kirsten was like, "Oh, you could go over and like take theirs while they're gone." But she was like, when she was telling me about it, Kirsten was like, "Oh, like I don't want to go there. Like I've heard all these stories. Like I'm afraid. I don't want to go in there like all alone." She was like, "But I'll tell you like how you can get in there and like where to get the bong." And so the entire thing was just, it was so like a usual thing, not a usual thing, but just like a, not so crazy thing. Like, oh, we're going over to this house to go get a bong. Like right. that was literally the thought behind the night.
Gotta have it,
which is kind of ridiculous. Yeah. So anyway, so I was in, I don't know why I remember this part of it so well. It's kind of like more of the like a prelude to the story. But I was at hibachi with a few high school friends.
Standard stuff.
And standard stuff. And we were just catching up and things like that. And then I told them I was going over to the Gowry's house to get this bong, and how my sister was afraid and how it was haunted. They were all like, oh, it's probably not, like there's not much to that. And my friend Eric was like, I'll go with you. He was like, I'm curious. And I was like, all right. I was like, here we go. Because again, we knew about this house and the stories that had been told from the Gowrys and from from all the family members. And so again, all we had to do was go to the house, there's a little access code to get in, and then we had to get the key out of Allie's bag, and then, or is that Scott's bag actually? And go. It
sounds like a mission out of like Vice City or something. It's like
it really
GTA-esque.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Again, the reasoning behind why we were there. So anyway, so me and Eric leave hibachi. We go to the house, and it kind of just like goofing off in the car, and being like, oh, this is gonna be nothing. And I feel like I need to explain like two things about this. Like, one, the house was built in 1813, so like not old, compared to Europe, that's nothing, but like an older house that's at least seen.
That's definitely old. It's an old.
Yeah, it's seen some time. We're over 200 years now.
Yeah.
And the other thing I remember about this house is I was in, I think it was elementary school, and we had a school field trip to this house before the Gowrys even lived there. And we went there, and behind the fireplace, like there was this like kind of, not behind, it was like the tiles kind of like opened up, because there was like a large area in front of it, and that house was part of the Underground Railroad.
No shit.
Which like it just adds more to this house,
to
and
the
like
mystique.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like all of the things that I don't know could have happened there, and for it being such an old house. Yeah. But anyway, the other thing I think is important to explain is just like the layout of the house. I mean, it's a pretty standard house. You actually don't go, like the front door is not where we went in, because the access code is in the back. So like from the back, there's a hallway to the kitchen, and there's like a living room. There's a bedroom to the right, kind of open floor plan a little bit, and then there's an upstairs. So me and Eric, first thing we did, we got into the house, and I was just like, well, let's just get the bong first, and let's just take care
priorities.
of that, priorities, absolutely. So we went to, we got the keys out of the bag, we got the bong out of the trunk, we brought it to the car, and then we were like, all right, let's go explore. Like, it felt a little weird because like these people are on vacation. They're friends, kind of family friends through Kirsten.
Right. Hold on, just real quick. You got the bong, but then you made the decision to afterwards, after the objective was complete, to then explore the house further.
To go back in, yeah, 100%. 100%. It was, we were like, because again, it was just like, let's get this, and then we'll go explore.
Okay. All right.
So, and again, wanted to be respectful at the same time, and not be too intrusive. And so yeah, so we walk into the house for the second time now, and it's when you go on vacation, most people, it's very clean, things are put away. It looks like no one's been there for a few days to a week, because no one has been.
Right.
So yeah, everything was all in order. I always forget this part. So when we walked in for the second time, we were we were antagonizing the ghosts, like saying things out loud, and like stupid stuff like, oh, come out wherever you are, and just being very full of ourselves, and
that's how it starts.
Yeah, no, exactly. So again, going through the house, and we're like, all right, let's look upstairs, because I've heard some stories of some things upstairs. And it's, we don't know where a lot of these lights are in the house. We're not going to be like investigating. So like, we didn't turn much on besides like the kitchen light. So we were going up the stairs.
So were you just using like a cell phone or something to like guide your way, or?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much. But then we got to like midway. I actually made Eric go first because I didn't want to go first up the stairs. I was, I was being a little baby. But as we're approaching like the top of the stairs, like we see a glow, and we're like, well, that's weird. The TV's on, and it's not on a channel. It's just like on, one of those,
like
it's got like
an HDMI screen or something. Like it's just like
well, not even. It was like an older TV, and I kind of have a memory of like the green letters at the bottom that says like line or something that. Like it was in some mode that like that's what it was in. So get up there and we're like, well, that's freaking weird. It didn't really like. It was also like it was dark and like we didn't know the house, and we were like, all right, well, we're not gonna go like explore through the dark through like people's bedrooms right now.
Yeah. That's fair.
Opening doors and things like that. So like, all right, TV's on, whatever. Someone could have left that on. And so I head back down the stairs. There was not the bedroom the door was open. So we didn't really know it was a bedroom. We just knew it was a room. And we walked in there, and it's this house again, built in 1813, very, a lot of antique furniture, like still in there. Like it was modernized, but like still had that rustic
old timey
charm.
Feel.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But like when we went down to that bedroom, it was like, it looked like something out of like 1900, just this bed with like I don't know, those things that go all the way to the ceiling from the corners.
Yeah.
Very basic comforters and things like that. And just being in there, I was like, all right, this feels like a very old room. Probably like one of the first rooms that was like built in the house or something like that.
Yeah.
And as we're getting closer to the bed, it just starts getting like very cold in the room. Mm-hmm. And again, like a part of me is like, oh, it was winter time. But it's a heated house all throughout. It's been modernized. Like it wasn't cold in the kitchen. It wasn't cold when we went upstairs.
Yeah.
And we go into the bedroom, and as we're getting closer to the bed, it just starts getting very cold, and we both kind of like turn to each other. I remember Eric was like, all right, man, like I think it's time to go. We were like
too real.
Yeah, no, like he was like, I'm uncomfortable, and I was like, well, I'm uncomfortable.
This was a mistake.
I was like, this is not what I was really expecting. Thought nothing was going to happen at all. And so we go back to leave, because we're like, all right, like that was weird, but not much happened. Like that could be explained. We didn't really talk. Like we kind of like hurried out of that bedroom, but like kind of just the mutual thoughts that were going on as we were discussing it after. And we turned to the kitchen, and every single cabinet is like wide open. Like, and they weren't the cabinets that like swing all the way. So it's just every single and it wasn't just like all in one row. There was this like little island in the center, like all those were open. There was like in that hallway when you walk in from the back, there was a cabinet for like clothes. There's another one that had like supplies in it. Wide open.
Those were all open too. Oh wow.
Everything was open.
Now I have to ask, they were not open when you walked in.
No, 100% not, because
probably you would have noticed that. Yeah.
Well, and the other thing, like we wouldn't have been able to get in the way they were wide open. They were
block
all
your entry.
Exactly, especially where the hallway was. Like in the kitchen, you could still get around it, but it was a spectacle.
But you didn't hear anything.
No, we didn't hear anything at all.
That's even wilder. You'd assume, I feel like you'd have to hear something if they open, but it's like that's special.
And again, maybe like when we were in the bedroom and just kind of both freaked out, our minds were kind of elsewhere and not paying attention to other sounds or something like that. But yeah, there was no noise, no creaking or anything like that. So yeah, we're in the kitchen looking around, and we like, again, no words exchanged, just pure horror. and just sprinted out of there. Had to actually close some of the cabinets like to get out in that hallway. Went out the door. We didn't have to lock the door because it was like it was automatically locks because you need the code. And we peeled out of the driveway and just never looked back. Before that happened to me, I'm a spiritual person. I wouldn't, I wouldn't call it, I don't think there's a man in the sky with a big white beard.
Santa?
But yeah, exactly. But I definitely, believe in, I believe in ghosts. I believe in, the supernatural and things like that. But every time, I'd see these ghost hunter shows or, even the scary movies and be like, oh, like that would be pretty cool if something like that happened to me. But up until that point, it hadn't.
Hey, you.
Hi.
What's up?
Not much. I was just watching movies.
I love how I say it like I wasn't anticipating you coming on and talking. Oh, you're here. Funny. Okay, so yeah, I just talked to Jeremy, and he discussed his experience at the galleries. He had mentioned that you may know, I don't know if he told you any stories, but I think if he has and you have some, I would like to hear them because I will just kind of tack those on to Jeremy's. I asked him if he had any other information. He said he didn't, but obviously you're a friend of his, so I figured if you did, you can tell me. If not, that's completely fine.
Well, I have one that stands out to me that his mom experienced.
Okay, let's start with that.
Okay. Yeah, so basically, I think all the kids, like they're off in different states or at college. Scott was in college at that time, so she was home alone. And she was in the kitchen and she was getting something and was walking back into the living room. And as she stood like in the living room, she saw this like black silhouette figure of this little girl.
Okay.
Her first encounter seeing this like little girl outline, but
hold on. So just to clarify, so it was a black, like, were there any visible features or was it just like a shadowy kind of?
Yeah, it was more like a shadowy, like it was, she described it as a very defined like black silhouette of a girl.
Definitely a small little girl.
Yes,
Okay.
Very clear. And it was almost like the figure was like doing these waving motions for her to like come. Yeah, it was. And Mrs. Gowrie ended up booking a room at Old Saybrook Point Inn because she was so scared to stay the night at her house all alone.
I thought you were going to say she ended up following the shadow. Oh, that would have been too much.
Yeah, no, like it's come to the point where like Scott doesn't even, like he in high school would sleep over at my house if his mom was like out or something. Because he was too scared to be in the house alone.
So no one wants to be there alone.
No.
Is the thing. Do they know of a death that happened in the house or any weird, occurrences in the past?
So I think with that girl, they did find that there was a girl who died of scarlet fever.
Sure. Yeah. That's an old timey one. Yeah.
Yeah. I think her name, they don't count me on this, but I thought they said her name was Emily.
Okay.
And one of the daughters' names is Emily, which is quite weird.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, so they knew about that. I don't remember the details about others, but there's definitely a lot of history in that house.
Okay.
And pleasant.
Well, it definitely speaks to the whole, the truth to that place being creepy at the very least, because from what Jeremy's experience was and from what you're telling me about no one wanting to stay there, there's definitely something going on.
Well, and I don't know if Jeremy told you, but the same thing happened to Allie Gowrie.
With the cabinets opening?
Yeah, and he didn't even know about that yet. I told the Gowries what had happened, and Allie was like, Kirsten. She was like, me and my boyfriend from vacation, we were the first ones home, and all the kitchen cabinet doors were open.
You will not believe.
I was like, No.
Okay. Yeah. So that's, I feel like, would he ever let me into that house for a night? Like me and a buddy? Like, are they always there, or is it like, do they go away?
Mrs. Gowry does go away, but she would also, if she knew you were doing this, I feel like she would love it.
I need to. I need to talk to her.
Yeah, I could definitely talk to them. I think she'd be like, yeah.
just plant the seed. Let's see what they say.
I will. I actually will.
First, I want to hear the experience you had where you think you might have been dreaming, but there was a girl. Only because I'm intrigued, because a very vivid experience I had from episode 1 was the girl in my hotel room. So I'm curious to see kind of, how you felt, what happened. I obviously don't know what happened. And then we'll move on to Malik's story.
So yeah, this happened in this room. So your old room.
Which I will say, I had a scary experience in that room as well. That was, I don't know why it would have happened in there, but.
Right.
Okay, carry on.
Yeah, and so my bedroom was slightly rearranged. So like my bed is where I'm sitting now.
Yeah.
So I was like sleeping in this area, and I don't know what time of night it was, but it was definitely like middle of the night, probably 2 or 3. And I just woke up and I was like facing this side of the room, and it was like immediately opening my eyes, I just see this figure standing next to my bed, and I'm kind of shocked. Like I don't like flinch or anything. I'm like, what is happening? And everything's in place. Like, this is so real. Like, there's no way I'm having a dream. And I don't really move my head. I just move my eyes, and it's just this like, so I immediately see this like black cloak.
Oh my God! This is blowing my mind. I'm sorry. Keep going.
No, it was crazy. It was this black cloak, but then when I scan up to the face, I see blonde, like very nice blonde hair. But the eyes are the one thing, like they were like red. Like it was like a like a bright red. And she wasn't looking at me, she was just staring directly at my bed and just kind of down like at my body or at the middle of the bed, and was just standing there, didn't move, didn't do anything. And I was like, just in such shock. And I literally just turned to the other side.
You're like, nope.
Just put the blanket over my head. I was like, I just didn't look up for the rest of the night and was petrified. I don't know what that was. I
even just like, well, so you know the experience I had in that room with the shadow figure, right? The cloaked figure.
I feel like you may have mentioned it.
So not only did I know I experienced it, but I talk about it in episode 1. What you just described, I'm almost shocked that you don't know, like, or aren't like, oh yeah, I remember when you said that, because if you had been like, oh yeah, I remember you saying that, I'd be like, oh, maybe she's just kind of like transference, like, oh, Josh said there was a cloaked shadow figure in his room, so maybe, now I'm seeing that. But the fact that you are kind of ambivalent on the fact that I even mentioned it to you, or that you know about it, is terrifying to me, because when I slept in that room, the one experience I had was I rolled over at around like 2:30, 3 in the morning, and there was a cloaked figure standing right by my bedside. My experience, though, there was no blonde hair or eyes. It was just this there was a head, shoulders, full body. It was kind of a taller figure, but I didn't know male, female, what it was. And much like you, I quickly just threw the covers over my head, and I was like, either I'm about to die or I'm seeing something. And I'm curious to see what happened afterwards, because for me, I threw the covers over my head, waited for about 5 minutes. My heart's pounding out of my chest. I made a little peephole out of my covers and turned. Figure was gone, and the bedroom door, like my room, your room now, I always shut it at night. It was wide open. So I'm curious, was your door open or closed when this happened? And when you took the covers off your head, I'm assuming it was gone, but was the door closed or open?
I always sleep with my door closed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think I looked at the door, but I feel like I would have noticed if it was open.
Yeah.
So I really couldn't tell you. I was literally too scared to come out from the covers.
This is when you told me you saw a girl. I was like, oh, like a little child or something. Like like a very distinct difference from what I experienced. Can you explain to me? I'm sorry, I just did not know this happened to you, and now I'm like jacked to the tits. But so when you woke up, do you remember like having a moment where like, I'm awake, I am going to roll over to a side of the bed or do so, or I guess the bigger question here is when you woke up, were you like, I can't move my body?
No, I didn't feel that way.
Okay.
Like I woke up, I was like sleeping on my left side.
Were you facing the wall?
I was facing the mirror.
Okay.
So it was like I was facing the open room.
Right. But you woke up facing the mirror, and you automatically, like when you woke up, it was standing there.
Yeah, well, it was kind of like I was looking like straight ahead, but out of the corner of my eye, I was like kind of quick, like,
what is that?
Yeah. I was like, what?
Okay, so you woke up and then you realized, and then so you saw it, and your immediate reaction was to throw the covers over your head.
Yeah, it was kind of just like a scan from bottom to top. I like saw enough to see the face and the features, and then just was like, like turned.
So you were able to, like, your body, like, you were just like, okay, I'm putting these covers up for my head.
Yeah, I was able to do that. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. The facial features, what were they like?
Yeah.
You have to understand, this is like you're like unveiling like a layer of an experience I had. So this is like so interesting to me.
Yeah. Well, honestly, when I saw the face, I was shocked. Like she was very pretty.
Pretty. Okay.
Like very like kind of slender.
The blonde woman.
So you couldn't. So like the cloak would have been like this. So all you could see was like hair, just like this much.
Okay. Did you see a face?
Yeah.
Okay.
I could just see like the front of her face, but like again, the eyes were like this bright, like red.
Demon-esque.
Yeah, it was weird. She had like her chin was very like slender. She had like a very slender lower jaw.
Like a point. It came to a point.
Yeah, it was like decently pointy. But like that was really it to me. It was just like, yeah, the slenderness and then the blonde hair and the eyes. But it was pretty. It wasn't anything that was like, holy shit.
I mean, that's still a holy shit moment. This is like, I am blown away. I can't even, only because it completely coincides with what I experienced. Right. Except for the fact that I didn't see a face or hair or anything like that.
Right.
Maybe she revealed more to you than she would to me. Oh my God. What is going on in that house?
No, I'm convinced that there's something.
Okay, well, on that point, let's move on to unless there's anything else you want to discuss. I know. Let's do this. I know you've sent me videos of Taz kind of being a little on guard. So maybe let's briefly go over that, and then we'll hit Malik's story and we'll call it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know when this started exactly. I think it was when Dad had started dating Trisha, and he would go out during some weeknights for dinner or whether it was a weekend. And I would just hang out downstairs with Taz on the couch, and I'd be like watching a movie or watching TV. And there was just like one night where I noticed Taz was staring into that little hallway that leads into Dad's and Mom's bedroom.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I didn't think much of it, but I was like, why? Like he was just staring over there for so long. I was like, what is going on? And then I looked back at Taz, and he just like slowly started moving his head, like as if he was watching something.
Like walk.
Living room.
Oh
yeah.
My God.
And I was like, what is going on? And so I took out my phone. I was like, I'm just gonna see if I like can capture something, like half joking, half being like, whatever. So I'm just like filming where he started looking, and I'm tracing it like past the fireplace, kind of towards the dining room towards the TV, and then it goes back to Taz. And that whole time, like I still out of the corner of my eye see Taz, like he's been looking, and then he just kind of like looks back at me at one point. I'm like, that's weird. So I rewatched the video, and you can see from kind of right near the fireplace to when I'm filming towards Taz, there's just this like orb, this weird flash of an orb, and it goes right directly near Taz.
Yeah.
I see it in there. And I know like mom used to sit there a lot to watch TV. And it was just like I was like, am I just like exaggerating this whole thing? Like, is this just like my camera lens? Is this, I don't know, but it was the whole idea. I know dogs are super sensitive to spirits and that, all of that. So part of me feels like Taz just like senses mom's like spirit sometimes in the house. And I've specifically in the living room, I've just noticed him kind of trace his eye.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Okay. Yeah. That's okay. Let's move on to Malik's. And then I just kind of want to get your thought on something that just popped into my head, but let's talk about Malik's encounter too.
Yeah.
For everyone listening, Malik is Kirsten's boyfriend. I like him. He's a good guy.
So I think he woke up it was like 2 a.m. We had both woken up at 2 a.m. It was weird.
Seems to be the time in that house.
Yeah, I know. We didn't know why we were up, but he got up to go to the bathroom, and I just kind of rolled back over and started falling asleep. And he had told me he went to the bathroom, and he came back out. And as he like opened the door and started walking out of the bathroom, he felt like a hand just kind of softly on his shoulder, and they said, "Hey," and it was in like a woman's voice, and he like turned around, and he was like, that didn't happen," and he just walked back to the room, and he waited till the morning to tell me because he didn't want to like freak me out, but I found that really interesting considering Dad's experience too.
Yeah. Well, also, and is Malik a spiritual person, or is he more on the kind of agnostic, atheistic spectrum?
That's a great question.
I mean, you don't obviously, if you don't know, you don't have to answer
I don't
that.
think he's like strictly one or the other. I think it's kind of like if it happens, it happens. Like
case by case basis.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. So, all right. So he heard a female voice, and he felt a hand on his shoulder.
Yeah. That's
the crazy thing. And I mean, I guess your thoughts on that are that, it was mom.
I feel like, yeah. It was just a gentle, like getting your attention, soft, Yeah.
I
don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, it would make sense given that she passed away in the house.
Yeah.
But I want to, so this will be my final question to you. Because I've been thinking about this for a while, actually, since Dad told, me his experience, and, especially with this Malik experience, there's a part of me that's like, if that's mom, that's awesome, because it's like, she's still, some form or part of her is still here, which is awesome. But then I think, is it? Because I feel like if that's the case, I feel like I would have wanted her to move on, to heaven or wherever souls go after we pass. So I just wanted not to get too morbid or depressing, but I wanted to get your take on, if you think it's mom, is it a good thing that she's there? Or do you think that, maybe if she is there, is it one of those things where we feel like she shouldn't be, or are we happy that she is?
So the first thought that comes to mind is, I think it's a good thing in this aspect that she wanted us to know that there's a life beyond. And that, everyone always thinks about the afterlife. And she wanted to make sure, especially with dad and with all of us, you know, that somehow she'd get her message across that she is still present. And so I think in a sense, with some of us, she has done that. And whether, you know, for dad, it's through a spiritual experience. For me, it's been through dreams and little weird situations where it's just like, that was mom. Like, I think in the house specifically, it's good to a certain point. But part of me also feels like it isn't just here. Like, her presence is in so many other places.
Well, I was going to say too, as a follow up to that question, because I'm saying it strictly in a very like Christian, very religious, you know, mindset where it's like you either go to heaven or you don't, you know. And to that point, like maybe she, you know, bounces back and forth from time to time or whatever it may be. So yeah, so not to be like, why isn't she in heaven? Like we don't. But I'm curious because it's kind of been something that's been on my mind ever since you told me about the Malik thing, and then obviously with Dad's story. You know, it's like it's always nice to know that, you know, your loved one is still around, but it's like also you want what's best for them still, even in death. It's like, you know, you want them to ascend to, you know, bliss and, you know, all that other good stuff. So I was curious to get your opinion on that, but that was a very insightful answer you gave and actually kind of put me in my place as far as where my headspace was at. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
How's Chicago?
Have you ever been?
I have not.
Even in winter, it is a beautiful city. And like, I kept thinking like, oh, you know, the Midwest, it's landlocked, but you feel like you're on the Atlantic Ocean. The Great Lake that it's on is enormous. Oh. It is a full ocean. Beautiful skyline. It's cold, but like not honestly, it's not any colder than where y'all are. At night, it does drop to single digits, but like during the day, it's like 20s, 30s. You know, it's not.
Yeah, it's been chilly here as well. It's like frigid outside. And forgive me, I now have a cold, so you have to deal with that. My sniffles. But yeah, I'll give you the floor.
Okay. So even though my relationship with the spiritual world, the non-physical world, had been mostly non-existent for most of my life. And this was when I was a believer, when I wasn't a believer, back to being a believer, all of that. My real encounter with what we could call ghosts was Jada, my fiance at the time, someone from his work knew a ghost hunting group, and they would hire writers to come and join them on their exploits and write about it, and then they would pay them, but it would also be published. And they were like, just write honestly, just write what you see. And it's a lot of groups do this to help build their credibility and also to give them more exposure. So he said yes, and he was like, do you want to come along with me? I was like, sure, this sounds great. So it was a midnight excursion. We started, I think, like we drove up from DC and we met in Gettysburg. We went to 2 locations. I'll start with the first one. So we went to this state park, and we were the first ones to arrive. We were told like, hey, meet at this pin location because you're gonna lose Wi-Fi service. And the meeting time was at midnight. And you're like, okay. So we drive
classic.
up, like classic, right? So we you know, take some double shot espressos with us, and we get up to the forest, and we're the first ones to pull in. And you know, cell service is down, no one's up there. It is pitch black. Like the last house we passed was like 20 minutes away. Like it was like we're in the middle of this huge state forest. But you know, slowly but surely, like cars start to dribble in, and we're meeting all the different members of this ghost hunting group. And one of the guys, he's this old guy, and he's like, oh, I'm just here to watch the dogs. You're like, what dogs? And he's like, oh, you don't know? Like the leader of this group, like in his spare time, what he does is not his spare time, like he's like a venture capitalist. He does whatever he wants. He's got 12 Malumets that he attaches to the sled that has wheels on it. And he takes these dogs and travels down old abandoned rail tracks all across the Northeast. And that's how he discovers like haunted places. And
Hold on the tracks? Like,
yeah.
can
So
he
there's,
do
like,
that? Is that illegal?
I don't know if it's legal or not, but I think it is legal. It's like it's some kind of tourism, but he will go and like discover abandoned houses, forts, graveyards, places in all of this wilderness where trains used to run. But because the rails are still there, his wheels can go. And so and the dogs are like the big logo for this ghost hunting group. And so we meet him. We meet the two mediums that he brings with him, this old Southern Native American guy who likes to antagonize spirits. Then there's like this woman named Para Ann, who's like in her 30s, who's kind of like the more subtle, inquisitive, compassionate medium, really trying to get answers. So we meet everybody. It was cool. And we go out to our first location and we go to this civil war area, but it was also repurposed during World War II to hold prisoners of war. And so we're out there. It's pretty cold. We're at this first site and the group starts setting up all their equipment. Now, I'm sure you're familiar with a lot of these gizmos and gadgets. I was not. There were like K2 machines, and this one guy had like this sound box that would like interpret echo recordings into English so they could catch words. And I was like, wow, this is really wild. And so we set up by the foundations of this old fort that housed POWs from World War II. And through the scanners, they're getting some activity from like what appears to be on the scanners like a sentry walking back and forth, because they set up this one K2 that whenever it would be activated by some sort of paranormal energy, it would make a music box sing. So we were getting some responses, some back and forth. It was really cool just to see how all of the machines were working. We were like, okay, let's go to another location. So this is where things get really intense. We go to this glen where there must have been some foundation of a fort, but it had mostly been nothing. There was like a few cement pillars.
Just real quick before we move on, just going back to the last thing when you said there was a sentry walking back and forth. Was it on like a thermo, like a?
So they were using the thermo camera at both sites, and on the first one it was a little like they could pick up a humanoid outline, or like not humanoid, but like it had that figure of a person, but really it was the back and forth and the communication with the K2s.
Gotcha.
And Para Ann, so we didn't get a ton of visuals. I will tell you though, the second site we sure did. And I'm really not doing anything. I'm just observing. Okay, I'm seeing all these people, whipping out gadgets, asking questions, looking at heat maps, and the EVP machines just going the whole time, which just adds to the specter of everything. And the older medium starts asking a question about, do you want us here? And no one really noticed that like a branch or like there was rustling, could have been anything, could have been like an animal or, dead wood. I mean, there had been a storm there like a few days before, like who knows, right? No one really paid attention to it. On the thermal scanners, right on the cement pillars, it's clear as day, and I can tell you because I saw it, was a human outline. And it was there, and the two mediums were asking it questions, and it was responding.
How is it responding?
Through the EVP.
Okay.
And then
what was it saying? What were like the words that were coming out?
So the words were like, daughter, fear, like you could get like more syllables and things, and so they were trying to. So then when you get that kind of those words, you try to ask it like, what does it mean by that? Could you clarify that?
Yeah.
And really in genuine appreciation. And then the old medium, the Native American medium, starts to like antagonize it a little bit, and is like, do you fucking want us here or not? And the thermal outline disappeared, and a tree fell.
Oh, like a big tree?
Yeah, like a full fucking whatever was around us. And it was with it, like it didn't fall in the clearing, but it was right next to us. And these are people who have been doing this for 15 years. They grabbed their stuff and they bolted out of the clearing. And I'm left there like, okay, so I saw this outline. It said something before with this branch. It now put a whole tree down. So whether they were Confederate ghosts, whether they were POW ghosts, whether they were American Guard ghosts, I don't know. But in the second location, they did not want us there. So that was the woods. And at this point, I'm like, damn, like so many of these gadgets have gone off. There have been calls and responses. There was enough space for me to be skeptical, but I'm hearing this stuff, and I'm like, these guys are not going to invest tens of thousands of dollars in equipment, their time, being outside on a Wednesday night from midnight till 4 a.m, just to give me and Jadon a rise. Like they're just like that takes a huge leap of imagination. So at that point, I'm starting to trust this group. We're starting to like build relationships. I'm starting to get to know some of the camera guys because they've got microphones and cameras everywhere. So the third location we go is this. Oh my God, it was so scary. It was this old farmhouse that actually is occupied by a family who had bought it 3 years prior.
Oh, so someone currently lives there.
Currently lives there.
Okay.
This house had been. And it was so strange because it took a while to get there, and yet when you arrived, like the highway was on the other side. Like there was some woods in between it, but it was close to the highway.
Yeah.
But this house had been there since, I think they said, the Revolutionary War. And when you go down in the basement, you can see the original wooden beams
nice.
that are still there. It's a super old house. And the family who occupied it didn't really know anything about the history of the house. The father was just like a Civil War like history buff, and like just wanted to be in the area as he was retiring. And we pull up, and there's like Confederate flags everywhere and crosses, and I'm like, oh shit.
Welcome.
And Jadon's there as like one of the only 2 Black people in this group, and I'm like, shit, we just pulled
made a mistake
to some sickos, and I'm like, I'm giving this 5 minutes before we leave. But we all meet around this campfire. The husband and wife come out, they greet us, and they tell us a little bit about what's going on. They had turned their house and about 2 acres of woods in the back into a tourist attraction. They invite people. You can pay to walk through. Because what they discovered is that their house and the adjacent woods are, I forget the word, but the best like image that comes to mind are like vortexes. They used the word portal at one time, but that they were like spiritual vortexes, and specifically in the basement of the house and 2 areas in the woods. Because as they were giving us the history, this had been on indigenous land, Native American land. They knew this because they had found pottery and arrowheads that can be carbon dated to that time before the house was built. When the house was built, obviously, the Battle of Gettysburg, was happening all over. So they have that going on. It was also part of the Underground Railroad. So, in one spirit in particular, a little 8-year-old boy, I believe the mother called him Samuel. The wife of the guy who was there professed that she had been able to be in contact with the spirits, and she kind of takes care of them. So you have the Underground Railroad, the Native American site, you have the Confederate and Union battles. And what also made it kind of a vortexy place is that there were spirits from the highway, from car accidents, that would get pulled into the property. And so I'm hearing all this and I'm like, okay, well, this sounds something out of Poltergeist, or like, you know, you're just like, there's so much like death and menace that it kind of gravitates that energy towards it. I'm like, okay, but magnet. you can say that, but what's the beef? You know, where's the beef, Arby's? So they go, okay, you're going to split into two groups, because if your whole group goes to one of these places, you may not get the kind of contact you want. So we split up into like 6 and 6. So we start in the basement, super old basement, and they have their own EVP, and it's much better than the one we were using. And I think because it was stationary, it wasn't battery powered, you know, so it was a little more a reliable machine.
Yeah.
And the wife tells us, she goes, okay, now you can start asking questions. And the female medium was with us. We had our little cold scanner, temperature scanner.
Yep.
She's like, you're probably going to hear a lot of different voices. So just be very clear with who you want to get in contact with. And we're sitting down there. And the first 5 minutes, nothing's really happening. Like there's little spits on the EVP machine. And we can hear like what seems like an accumulation of voices, but it's nothing really identifiable. So I grabbed the little thermal scanner. We're in like this lighted area of the basement, but there's a darker area as you go forward. There's no chairs set up, there's nothing. So I walk over and I'm looking down, and I don't know how to use this machine, okay? The temperature keeps changing. It goes from like 70 to 71 to 69. And at first I'm like, oh, okay, what's 1 degree? I tell the group this. They're like, it shifted a degree. It shifted 2 degrees. I was like, yeah. They're like, oh shit, that is a significant temperature drop to indicate that you could be interacting with paranormal energy. I was like, okay, I'm coming back.
News to me.
So I go and sit down. I'm holding this machine, and all of a sudden, Para Ann starts asking questions, and this distinct female voice comes out of the EVP box. She says, hello. And Para Ann's like, hi, can you tell me your name? The first one was Mary. So Mary's like, hi. And after a while of conversation, she stops speaking, and there's this loud voice that comes through the box. This angry old man. So conversation's going back and forth. Weird stuff's happening. We're all kind of spooked. The wife comes back in, and she tells us, yes. So one of the longtime spirits here, I forget the surname of the family, but they were the original owners of the house when it was built, and Mr. something, and he died in the house unexpectedly. So she told us that his spirit doesn't know why he's dead. He doesn't know why everyone's there. And he's just freaked, and he tries to control everything. Now I'm getting like, Mr. Crane vibes from The Haunted. I'm like, okay, so this is like the spooky old guy, the first ghost, who's just like fucking, but she's like, he's harmless. He's just an angry old man. He's like, yeah, like we were talking to this spirit called Mary, and then she kind of got shouted down by all these male voices. And she's like, yes, well, as you know, like sexism was real back then as it is now. And you're like, okay, but who is Mary? And Mary was another spirit of a family that had lived in the house later. So we're like, oh, geez. So she knows the names of the people. And she's like, has Samuel come to talk to you yet? And we're like, who's Samuel? So Samuel is an 8-year-old boy who was fleeing the South. He was part of the Underground Railroad. And he unexpectedly died in the house. She's like, I talk to him all the time. We never got in touch with Samuel that night in the basement. We were down there for probably 90 minutes. And the whole time running on just pure adrenaline, like shit.
Yeah.
There is like you can just feel it, to the point where like I started asking questions, because when the female medium, who was really the only one asking questions, wasn't getting a lot of response, we took that sexism comment to heart. And you're like, okay, well, what if a man asks what's going on or tries to interact with the spirits?
Yeah.
I got some responses, but I was like, that's really interesting, like projecting kind of human prejudice and consciousness onto these entities.
Yeah.
But it was wild to like be in like the medium role for like 10 minutes and just like going back and forth, doing my best to like get clarification. You felt sad.
Yeah.
I felt very sad. Like it was almost like, you know, when if people die unexpectedly or don't know that they're dead and they do live in this world, assuming that this spirit world operates on the laws and functions that everyone was telling me it operates, that you kind of take on that energy is palpable and very potent. So you can feel it, even if it's not like, oh, you know, my temperature is going down or goosebumps, but like you can feel the emotional energy of those entities that you're around. And so we're going around the woods, and you know, whether it's, and we're the only ones out there, right? Whether it's twigs snapping or all of a sudden the fire getting huge, there's just so much energy back there, to the point where I'm like, look, the mind is an incredible tool. We can hallucinate all of this. We can get into group memory around a belief of what happened. But I know what I saw. And I know what I experienced, and more importantly, I know what I felt. Because as we know, the mind is an imperfect instrument for seeing the world. It can only observe through the five senses, which, as we know, is only one approach to interacting and knowing the world around us. It's not even about convincing or evidence. It's just like, are there spirits? Of course there are spirits. Like, yeah. I have no doubt. Whether you put it on a K2 machine, or you have a medium asking questions, or you feel the emotions of a lost spirit in the gut of your stomach. And if you're an empathetic person, you're going to receive that. I left that night like, damn. You know, now I know why these guys they're doing this for 15 years. Like, what a ride.
So those were my family stories, and they will wrap up season 1 of The Grave. I want to thank my siblings and my dad for taking the time to discuss their experiences with me. And as a family, I think we can all take some solace in the knowledge that we can all agree that there is something that happens after death. And I think that's really what I wanted to get across with this first season. I don't think that life is all just a materialist experience where what you can encounter with your senses is all that's there. And I also want to give a huge shout out to my wife, Jessica. She has been my #1 fan throughout this entire process, has supported me every inch of the way, has helped with promoting the podcast, and kept me generally sane throughout this entire endeavor. I really appreciate everyone who has taken the time to listen to this podcast. It's certainly been a labor of love. A lot of late nights and a lot of bourbon. But your support has pushed me to continue with this podcast, and I can tell you that we are already interviewing folks for season 2. I will not give a definitive date as to when that will launch, but I certainly want you to know that it is happening. And if anyone listening has a friend, family member, knows a garbage man, or someone who works at a deli, or whatever the case may be, if you know someone who has a interesting paranormal story or experience, know that I'm here to listen to it. And you can always find me on Instagram at The Grave Podcast. And you can always email me at podcastthegrave@gmail.com. So again, a huge thank you for everyone who's listened and supported. This is a wrap on Season 1, and I will certainly be giving you updates as far as any insight into Season 2 and when that will be taking off. So one last time, I'm your host, Josh King, and I can't wait to have you all back for some more scary stories.